Okay, so let's go to page 73 in your grammar books. We'll start there. 73. Okay. Um, we're talking about the adverb clause. I think you guys know this from last year. Do you guys remember www.asia? And I think you're already using it in your writing. Yeah, you are. So this should be pretty easy for you to know. But basically, we're going to cover that, the adverb clause. And sometimes when we hear the word adverb, we think ly, and that's true. Ly words a lot of times are adverbs, but we're not talking about those words when we're talking about a clause. It does change a little bit. So an adverb clause is a group of words that begins with a www word and contains a subject and a verb. An adverb clause must be added to a sentence that is already complete. Here's the pattern for an adverb clause. It has a www word, that's the Asia word, plus a subject plus a verb. It has to have a subject and verb with it. Because remember, I used to tell you this all the time. Clauses have verbs and phrases do not. Okay. So when we're talking about any clause, a that clause, a because clause, a main clause, a who which clause, there's lots of them. They all have subject verb pair. So this one just happens to have the www word to start it off. And here they are. So you guys can stay muted. Let's read these words. You probably already have them memorized, but let's read this. Ready, read. When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. Easy peasy cheesy, right? When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. Now, on your checklist, we don't have because as part of the adverb clause. We have it as its own clause on the checklist. It's a because clause. It's still a clause, so it has to have a verb. So you cannot say because of. Remember how we talked about that before? Because of changes it to a preposition. So make sure you don't use of with it when you're doing a clause. Here's your example. You're going to use parentheses and we're going to use AC to label these. When the cat prowled at night, the mice hid where he could not reach them. That's your example sentence. And we've got two adverb clauses here. We've got when, that's one of the W's, and then where, that's another W. When, while, where. And then we have the subject verb pairs within that. By the way, just so you know, the mice hid, that's considered the main clause. That's what the sentence is mostly about. The extra clauses before and after just give more detail about what's going on. But the basic thing that's happening is the mice hid. That's the main clause. So there is a pattern here when it comes to commas. And Olivia, I see you coming in. We're on page 73, okay? So turn to 73 in grammar. Use a comma when, see the pattern here, AC, comma, MC? When the adverb clause, the Asia clause comes first, you need a comma. Here's the pattern if the main clause comes first. If the main clause is first, there's no comma, it's just MC, AC. So the two patterns are AC, comma, MC or MC, AC. That's the comma rule. And you'll notice in the example here, we have both examples. We have both. It starts off with an adverb clause, so there's a comma, because that follows the first rule, AC, comma, MC. And then there's no comma here when the adverb clause comes after the main clause, MC, AC. So right here, this one comes after the main clause, the mouse or the mice hid. All right, page 73. And at the bottom, we have many words can be used as different parts of speech. We've talked about this before. However, a word can only perform only one part of speech at a time. For example, the word since. We're going to talk about that one today. It can be either a preposition that begins a prepositional phrase, or it can be a www word because the S in Asia up here is for since. So it's one of those words that can go either way. Remember, prepositional phrases don't have a verb, but adverb clauses do have a verb with it, so they're totally different. And here's the example as a prepositional phrase at the bottom. Since his trip. Notice there's no verb in there. Since his trip, Timmy slept poorly. There's a verb later in the sentence. That's okay. But right next to since, there's no verb. Since his trip. Here we've got since he had traveled. Oh, wait, here it is. Since he had traveled, Timmy slept poorly. So here we have had and traveled. Those are both verbs and the subject he. So since his trip is totally different than since he had traveled. See the difference there? So one is a prepositional phrase, there's no verb. The other one is an adverb clause, since he had traveled, because it has a subject and verb pair. So they wanted to show you the difference between those two. Do you guys have any questions about this page? Okay, I don't see anybody. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything on the back? Oh, there is. A little bit more on page 74. Homophones. Hey, there's lots of them. I think the last one we talked about was two, and two. Well, today we're going to talk about there, and there. There, there. There. It's going to be okay. There. Basically, they're three different words, but they sound exactly the same. There, but they're spelled different and they have different meanings. So THERE, that is an adverb pointing to a place. Over there. There is the spot. So the way I remember it is if I cover up that T, I see the word here. And that helps me remember, okay, that's the spelling for when you want to talk about a spot for something. Over there, over here, you get it? So that'll help you remember how to spell there, THERE. That's when you're talking about a certain spot. There or here. THEIR, that one is a possessive pronoun. Their tails means the tails belong to them. I think we're talking about mice here or something. But anyway, could be their books belong to them. It could be their computers belong to them, their computers. And then we have the contraction. That one's easy to spot because it has an apostrophe. THEY apostrophe RE, that's they are. I think we just lost Julio. Did Julio disappear? Where did he go? Okay. Everybody's having internet issues today. That's okay. We're going to hang in there. So there is a contraction. They're hungry. It means they are hungry. That's an easy one to spot. If you can remember here and there in this word, THERE, and if you can remember the apostrophe as they are, then the other one will be easy because it's the last option. But they're going to make all kinds of mistakes in this book just for you guys. They're going to use the wrong one. And you have to figure out which one it's supposed to be. That's why I want to help you with the spelling part of it. But the example here says the mice tuck in their tails because they're too long. So they had the wrong theirs. The mice tuck in their tails. The tails belong to them. That one's THEIR. That's an adjective telling whose tails they are. They're their tails. And then this one. Because they are too long. And that's one way to check it. Say they are with it and see if that fits. Because they are too long, that works. But this is that contraction that's doing a bunch of stuff. It's a pronoun. It's a subject. And it's a verb all in one word. A lot of stuff going on. So the they part of the word is a pronoun. That's also the subject. And then the verb is are, A-R-E. But we only see the RE because of the contraction, but we label that part the verb. All right, you got this. Easy peasy, right? How about London? Can you read this sentence, please?
Timmy fearfully wondered if Catnap poked and prodded the pillow at night.
Okay, good. Prodded, that's a word we don't see very often. Does anybody know what prodded means? When you poked and prodded, it's a lot like poked, but it's basically like jabbed with something that's pointed. If you prod, it's like a stick, like a pointed stick, poked and prodded. So catnap is the name of the cat, right? Have you ever seen a cat on a soft pillow or bed or something and they kind of just do this with their paws, But sometimes they push. I think that's what they're talking about. The cat's just kind of like massaging the spot on the pillow. He was afraid of the cat, though. It makes sense because he's a mouse. So, anyway, let's check vocabulary. There is one article. Go ahead and find that by yourself. And then, Christopher, what about the four nouns?
Timmy,
Okay.
catnap, pillow, night,
Good. 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 Yeah, there's a big echo happening. So, I just wanted to be quiet so you could say those. That's correct. Those four nouns. How about the ly adverb, Megan?
Fearfully.
Nice. Good job. Coordinating conjunction, Olivia, the fanboy's word.
And
Good. Um, do you see the prepositional phrase yet, London? You see where it's at? Sometimes we wait on those, but if you see it, you can find it and tell me.
at night.
Yeah, you got it. At night. Sometimes we wait till the end and then it's super easy to find, but good job. How about and is Sydney with you, Christopher, or is she in the other room?
she's in the other room.
Okay. So Christopher, what about the adverb clause? Remember that
Remember
one?
that one?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. If catnap poked,
Good. There you go. You got it. Actually, you know what? I said that too soon. It does start with if, but there's more to it. Where does it end? It's past poked. Okay, I didn't hear that. Try that again.
if catnap poked and prodded the pillow
Keep going.
at night,
Yes. And the reason why we keep going is because if we just left at night, that doesn't fit any other clause or anything. So it's we need to include the rest of that thought, okay? All the way to the end. That's the adverb clause. And then the subject verb pairs. What about Megan? Where are the verbs? Do you see where those are?
Wondered.
Good,
Poked.
good.
Prod.
Prodded, good. And then there's two subjects. So who are the subjects?
Timmy.
Timmy's one.
Catnap.
Good. This is an easy one. You guys got this. All right. And there's two capitals. Let's do that. Catnap is a name. So we're going to make sure that's capital. And then there's a comma rule, Olivia. Do you know what we need to do with the comma? Got to decide, do we put one in or do we take one out?
Take one out.
Yes, and there's only one in here, so you're right. We don't need that because he's doing two things, poked and prodded. If he did three things, then you do need commas, but since it's just two, we don't need commas. End mark is here. That's pretty easy. Anybody have any questions about today's lesson or any of your homework, grammar homework? No? Okay. Good job, you guys. So your homework will be the next 3 pages like we usually do. Now, for the moment you've been all waiting for. You guys wrote a fun story this last week using pictures. Now, some of you, that might be hard to do. Like for me, I have a hard time writing these creative stories, but I looked at some of yours. I didn't get a chance to read everybody's yet, but you guys are pretty creative. More creative than me, honestly. But let's look at that really quick. So you guys wrote about ice cream truck or food fight. And it was 3 paragraphs. I see some students that turned that in. Does anybody want to share your story with the class today? Okay, good. I see Olivia's hand. What about Megan disappeared? I don't know where she went, but anybody else want to read their story? Christopher? Yeah? Okay, I see your hand. How about London? Do you want to read yours? She's like, no, that's okay. That's all right. You don't have to. Let's see. Christopher and okay, Olivia, do you want to? We'll have you go first. Do you have yours or do you need me to pull it up for you?
I have mine.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, tell us your title and then go ahead and read.
The very messy food fight. One day at school, Jim, TJ, and Lacey were looking for a table at lunch when suddenly Jim tripped on a backpack. His food fell on TJ, who got really mad. Because TJ thought it was on purpose, he tossed food at Jim. It all turned it all turned into a really messy food fight. There was food everywhere. There was mustard and ketchup on the windows. As if it wasn't enough, there was oddly a boy hanging from the ceiling. There were footprints on the tables because of all the jelly that was smeared on the floor. When he heard the big commotion, the principal rushed to the cafeteria. All the kids ended up in big trouble because of the mess they made. They got detention for 2 weeks, which the principal exclaimed angrily. Later, while the janitor was cleaning, he found a kid hiding in the cabinet, which was very strange. It was a very messy food fight.
Good job, Olivia. All right, you guys, you know what to do for her. I love it. I love it. Good job. What a mess, huh? Yes, and I heard some great dress ups in there. You know, one thing I forgot to do really quick is go over the checklist. So that's something I want everybody to look at with me really quick. Um, this is how I grade your work. So you must have this in front of you when you, oh wait, I'm showing you the next one, huh? Well, it was the ice cream truck one. That's the one I meant to get out. I'll show you. This is on my teacher book, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dress ups, and then you got some band words. So make sure you include all your dress ups and don't include band words. You have to use something different than that. One thing I also want to remind you is right here, the because clause. Make sure you don't put because of. That is not a clause. Remember, clauses have verbs, and because of something, if you say because of the mess, there's no verb there, and that means it's a phrase. So we got to make sure to not use of next to because. Um, I loved your story though. I thought that was really creative, and the way you described the footprints from the jelly on the ceiling was like really creative. I thought that was funny, and I can't even imagine trying to clean up a sticky, sticky mess like that. That would be pretty bad. All right, Christopher, I think you were going to go next, so make sure you tell us your title and then go ahead and read your story. Do you need me to pull it up for you or you got it? You're muted. I don't know if you're reading it yet.
The school's janitor. Once in high school, there was a kid named Bob and Jeff, and surprisingly, they did not like each other. While Bob was getting food, Jeff went in front of him and Bob got angry. Jeff intentionally dropped his bag, and while Bob was walking, he tripped and fell and muttered, "Ow, why would he do that?" Everyone in the line was angry and said, "Great, thanks, Bob," except Jeff. He was laughing, but no one was angry at Jeff. They were all angry at Bob. When he fell there was a massive splat, and then everyone got in a huge mess. All the tables had a big gasp. Suddenly, one and many and other foods were in the air, which made the whole cafeteria a mess because everyone was throwing food in the boring high school. After they started the food fight, a few minutes into the food fight, everyone, the teachers, were throwing food. Someone named Fred used mustard bottles to excitingly squirt mustard at everyone. Others were using ketchup while Jeff was still laughing at Bob. Jeff got hit with a pickle sandwich, then he joined in. The principal saw the commotion but did not stop it. He joined in because he wanted to have fun. Everyone screamed because Fred, who was the one was using the mustard and jumping off the table, somehow made a glove of very sticky melted cheese and stuck to surfaces like walls, floors, and even ceilings. And even neighboring buildings heard the scream. Disgustingly, there was a bunch of cheese, mayo, and pickle sandwiches, which smelled terrific at the food fight. Everyone left happily, even the employees and the principal. The principal got fired, which the students thought was unacceptable, so they did anything to get him back. Some even made a club talking about how they can get their principal back, but no matter what, they did not get their favorite principal back. While everyone was mourning the loss of their favorite principal, the teachers made a plan to make a water balloon fight to make the students happy again. The parents were indeed very unhappy with the school's behavior, and some took their kids out of the school. Excitingly, nobody was sad because the water balloon fight and the food fight. The employees were happy and the principal was happy, but there was one person who would probably quit his job, and that's the school janitor.
Is that the end? Good job, Christopher. I was trying not to laugh out loud because I know there's an echo on your video, so I was trying to be really quiet while you read that. That was hilarious. It had all these twists and turns to the story, and I love how Bob was there. I mean, we love Bob. Bob's our character, right? He came back. And then the whole balloon fight at the end. Oh my goodness. And the principal. The principal got fired, and then everybody's sad about that. That was funny. You have a very creative mind, Christopher. I liked it. It was good. And then I heard a bunch of your dress ups, and um, I didn't catch any banned words, so that was really good. Good job. And Julio, I know you were in and out for a second. Do you want to share your story today?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just bugged out the internet. The internet just bugged me out.
Yeah, it's weird. I think Christopher's having issues too, so I don't know what's going on, but I got you right now. So, do you have the your story or do you want me to pull it up?
I have a story.
Okay. So, you can read yours too. Tell us your title too.
I kind of put the same title.
Okay.
Um, the food fight. There was a kid running fast and he tripped on a dirty backpack. He was at school because the kid in front of him dropped his backpack. The other kid tripped. If the kid who was in front of him did not unknowingly drop his backpack, the kid would not have tripped. A food fight started. There was a kid laughing because a kid fell, and there was a girl who was squirting out ketchup and mustard, and a girl who was weirdly throwing a potato. When a boy threw a lot of food in the air, another boy jumped off a table squirting ketchup and mustard. They left a huge mess. There was ketchup, which was mixed with mustard. Since they made a mess, sadly, they had to clean it up because they couldn't leave it messy. And they never had a food fight again.
Nice. Good job, Julio. I like it. Very good. You didn't name your characters. You just said a kid and a girl, and you didn't want to do names, huh? That's okay. You didn't have to. That was good. I love it. So this week we're going to do another one of those. This is the last one, okay? So go ahead and put away week 12 or week 11. Sorry. Week 11 we're done with, so you can put that away in your finished binder or folder. And you're going to get out week 12. And I think there's 5 pages here for week 12. It's called Food on a Stick or Family Dinner. One more with pictures. All right, this is the last one. And you don't need a lined piece of paper for this, just week 12. So you can get that out. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Once you get it out, give me a thumbs up so I know you're ready. Okay, good. I see that. Okay, good. Olivia, you already have yours ready? Okay. Oh, no. Did you put something in the chat? Let me see. Oh, go ahead and get out. Yeah, week 12. Christopher, you got yours? Okay. So while Olivia is getting, I see your thumb. Good. And Megan, you're ready? She's working on it.
How many pages is it again?
It's 5 pages, counting
All
this
right.
top one. Yeah.
Is sugar one of them?
No, sugar is
Oh,
not one.
it
Starts
might be
here.
in the back with my yellow paper again.
Oh no. So it starts on page 101 and it goes all the way to 109 to help you know what pages they are, 101 to 109. That's what you're going to get out.
It's weird, but it might actually be in the yellow where the yellow paper's at. Is it this
Oh,
one?
I think so. I think that might be one of them. There, no, that's a different one.
Oh,
One,
is
it's,
it this one? Oh, wait, I
can you
see
see what I
now.
got? Yeah, these are the
Yeah, it's
two.
weird. It's actually in the yellow paper side. That's where I found the ice cream one.
Okay, did you find this one? Food on a
Yep.
stick or? Oh, good. Yay. I don't know why it's in the wrong spot, but we're going to look at the tan or it's kind of a yellowy page. Page 107. We're going to look at this page first. It's kind of a light yellow or tan color. So make sure you get this one out first, page 107. We are going to start using openers now in your writing. Remember last year we looked at openers in your grammar book and we marked those? Well, now it's going to be on your checklist. You have to include a prepositional opener now, and it's a number 2. Remember this from last year? Number 2 prepositional opener. So let's go over this page and then I'll show you the checklist so you can see where it's at on there. The prepositional opener is a prepositional phrase placed at the beginning of a sentence. There's 2 examples under this. The first one, you guys see where it has the number 2 and then there's a bracket around it? That's how you're going to label it in your writing. You're not going to underline it and you're not going to highlight it because we underline only the dress up words and we highlight the topic clinchers. But this is totally different. This is a number. We're going to use a number with a bracket. And the first example says, Despite a lengthy childhood sickness, Teddy Roosevelt enjoyed a life of activity and adventure. The other example says, in 1901, Teddy Roosevelt became the youngest president in the nation's history. So it starts with despite and the word in. At the bottom of this page, did you see the list? It's really cool. They gave you a nice list. These are all the prepositions in English. And if you check for the word despite, it's going to be where the D's are, which is kind of about right here. It's in alphabetical order. It starts with A, goes to B, and we see despite. That word is a preposition. And when you use it as the first word of your sentence, that's going to be a number 2 opener, prepositional phrase opener. The next example has the word in. Do you see the word in on your list? See if you can find it. Give me a thumbs up if you see in, I-N, on your list at the bottom. Okay, I see that. See if you find it where the I's are, I-N. It's in alphabetical order. Okay, I see that. Good, good. You guys are finding it? Okay, good. So if I look where the I's are, about right here, I-N, there it is. So you're going to use this list. Don't lose it. It's really important you keep track of this. You're going to use one of these words as the first word of one of your sentences in your paragraph. And you're going to mark it with a number 2. If you're handwriting your papers, you can just do a literal number 2 right in front of this sentence with a square bracket around it. If you're typing your papers, it is a key on your keyboard. It's on the right side of your keyboard. If you see where your backspace is, it's under that, or your delete button. It's kind of right under that. You see where there's a square bracket. Okay, that's what you would use around the 2 if you're typing it. And then it has a couple of notes right here. I'm going to read these. Okay, so look at your paper. Number 1 says a prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and contains at least 2 words. One of them is going to be a noun or a pronoun. Number 2, a prepositional phrase ends with a noun. Sometimes a pronoun. Most of the time it's a noun, though. A prepositional phrase never contains a verb. There might be other words between the preposition and the noun, but there is never a verb in a prepositional phrase. Number 3, to indicate that a sentence begins with a prepositional opener, label it with a to, and then it says in the left margin, but I want you to put it right before the sentence, this other example here. Right before the sentence is where you need to put it. Okay, so we're going to look now at your checklist. Anybody have any questions about prepositional openers right now? Okay. Okay. The checklist is on page 109. You're going to notice everything on the top is the same as it always is, with your name, and its composition is double spaced, and the title is centered, and you have your clincher, your topic clincher here. That's all pretty much the same. Your dress ups are still the same. You have 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. You had the Asia clause last time, right? Oh, no, you didn't. Wait, maybe you did. Did you? Do you remember? Oh, yeah, you did. I see a thumbs up there. Okay. So you already had the Asia clause. There's no more than 6. So you got the maximum number now. That's good. And then under that, do you see where it says sentence openers? This is new to you. It says number 1 of each as possible. So basically, you're going to do 1 of each in each paragraph. See how it has paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. And notice they give you the example of the 2 in the brackets and then the word prepositional. So you're going to make sure each paragraph has 1 of those in the paragraph. Yes, Julio.
How many points get taken away for not doing that?
Well, I'm going to be nice in the beginning. I'm only going to take away a half a point. if you forget that. But I'm going to make it harder and I'm going to take away more points because after a few weeks, you should know to do that automatically. Okay. So half a point at first and probably a whole point eventually. So make sure you put it in there. That's a good question though, because I've told you guys this a lot, but your homework is worth 10 points all the time. And I'm not looking for a perfect paper. Don't worry. I'm not looking for perfection, but I am looking for that you included everything on your checklist. That will get you a 10 out of 10 if you include everything. So if you get 9.5, if you get a 9, if you get an 8, that means you either forgot something or you accidentally used a banned word because you guys should know these now. If you use a banned word, I'm taking off a half a point. Okay, so make sure you watch out for that. But your goal is 10 every week. Your goal is 10. 10 points. Okay. Any other questions about prepositional openers or the checklist or anything else like that? You guys good with that? So it's new, it's here. Don't forget to add it each paragraph. All right, let's look at our story options this week. We have two. I'm going to kind of put them side by side like this so you can kind of see both of them like that. This is page 103 and 105. Probably the first thing you notice is, hey, wait, there's X's on the boxes. What is that for, right? You probably saw that. That is for you to create your own picture. You can either draw it in or imagine it in your head. If you're not an artist and you don't really want to draw, you don't have to. But looking at this first one here, this one is the food on a stick. It's missing the last box. There's a big X over it because they want you to decide by yourself how this story is going to end. Okay, so let's start with this one here. Looking at the pictures, anybody want to just share some ideas you have about what's going on in this story? Like, what is the main plot of this story going to be? What do you think is going to be about? Anybody want to share? I'm talking about this one first here. Nobody's talkative today. You guys are pretty quiet. All right, well, I'll do this one and then somebody else can talk about this one. But it looks to me like there's a boy and a girl. They have money in their hands. It looks like they're either at like a fair, like the Kern County Fair or something like that, or they're at a circus. I see a circus tent, or they're at some kind of a carnival, maybe. But there's booths right here with food. And if you look closely, each one of them is something on a stick. Did you guys notice that? If you look really close here.
It says deep fried ice cream on it.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. But basically, everything they have to eat is on a stick. It's kind of funny. And so they're looking, and then the next picture, they pick one and they go up and they order something. And then after that, we don't know what happens. So we're not sure if they were dreaming and they woke up from their dream, or maybe they either loved the food they ordered or they hated the food they ordered, or they gave it away to somebody. I mean, you get to decide what happens at the end here, but basically they're at a function, like an event here, and then they order something and then we don't know what happens next. So you would make up this part. This one, jumping to the next one over here. This is on page 105. This one's a little harder because we don't know what happened before or after. We only know the middle picture. And it looks like they're all at a table eating dinner, and there's a little cute little doggy under the table, and everybody's in a good mood. So we don't know if it's a holiday, if it's somebody's birthday, if it's just a regular school night and they're just having dinner together. We don't know if this is an aunt and uncle or, we don't know. That's where you get to make up the characters. So you would be thinking about what they're doing here. So, okay, now that you kind of looked at both, which one do you think you want to write about? Which one looks like more fun to write about? Raise your hand. I want everybody to tell me, are you going to pick the hot dog on a stick or the family dinner? Which one do you think? How about you, Julio? Do you know which one you want to do yet?
I mean, we kind of already talked about food, so I'm gonna go with oh wait, they're both food. I'm gonna go with the food on a stick.
The food on the stick. Okay, Megan, what about you?
I'm gonna do, I forget what it's called, but this one.
The family dinner?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about you, London? Which one do you want to do?
Um, Probably the family dinner.
The family dinner. Okay, Olivia and then Christopher. So, Olivia, what do you think? Which one do you want to do?
I'll do the family dinner.
Family dinner. And then Christopher, how about you?
Food on a stick.
Okay, good. Food on a stick. So, whichever one you're picking, I want you to put that one on top. And then I want the first step is to write down the question words. So at the top of your paper, if you pick food on a stick, write it on the top of that one. If you pick the family dinner one, write it on the top of that one. So you have it on the paper that you're going to use. And we're going to, at the top, write down these question words. Remember how we did this last time? Who, what, when. Go ahead and write these down. Where, oops. Who, what, when, where, how, oops, and then why. Those are the big six. I kind of put them in a different order, but that's okay. Who, what, when, where, how, why. And then we had some extra words that we asked. Do you guys remember what those were? Okay, Olivia.
Invisible and outside.
Good. Invisible. Good. Question mark. And outside, that just means outside the frame of the picture, not necessarily outdoors, but we also kind of talked about before. I know this is a lot to write down, but I want you to write all these down and after. Okay, I'm gonna give you a second to write those down. Who, what, when, where, how, why, invisible, outside, before, and after. There we go. That's a little better. What you're doing here is giving you something to work with for thinking. I know we've talked about this before. I'm going to remind you. When we think in our brains, it happens naturally. Your brain is always working. And sometimes we say it out loud, what we're thinking, but a lot of times our thoughts stay inside our brains, right? We have our own thoughts and nobody else can hear. And that is a good skill to practice because did you know you can develop your thinking skills? So you already know how to think, but you can think even better. And you want to practice this because sometimes in your life, anytime in your life, between now until you're old, you will hear things and see things that you don't understand. And that's part of life, especially when you're younger. There's a lot of things you don't understand yet because you're young. But you might be at Walmart someday and you might overhear somebody talking about something you don't understand, right? If that ever happens, you can think for yourself, like, what is that person saying, or what does that mean? Or where did that person get their information? Or why is he saying that? Okay. These are good questions to ask yourself. Anytime you hear anything, even if you understand part of it or none of it, it's good to think about it. And remember the example I gave last time. If you heard somebody on the internet say, the sky is gone. If they say the sky is gone, oh my gosh, we're all gonna die. Well, think, what does he mean by that? How does he know the sky is gone? I look outside, I see the sky, it's blue, it's got some clouds out there. Why is this guy saying that? And who is this person? Is he even a scientist? Does he understand how the world works? Where is he getting his information? So these are things that you can practice doing inside your head, and that's thinking. It's pretty cool. So you might see something on the internet. You might hear somebody at Walmart say something. You might be at a friend's house at a party and a friend says something, and you're like, what? What does that mean? Why are they saying that? And it's good to think about that. And you can always ask your parents because your parents will tell you the truth. So you can always, if you're at Walmart with your mom or whatever, you can ask your mom, why did that guy say that? And what does that mean? And, you know, you're going to get the truth from your parents. So that's always a good source. But as you get older, you'll have to think for yourself and discover for yourself what things mean. Okay. Anyway, back to this. We're going to practice this by using these pictures. So now you've got your central fact. And the central fact is what's literally happening in the picture. So you're going to start with that. I do recommend this time, Julio, that you give your characters names because it's a little bit more fun to read it when they have names. So instead of saying the kid, think of a name for them. And even though it looks to me like it's a boy and a girl, you can change that. It could be two girls, it could be two boys. They're friends, they're sisters, they're brothers. You get to decide how they know each other. And go ahead and write here on the central fact what you literally see in the picture. There's food on a stick and then two names. Or where do you guys think they are? Do you guys have any ideas of where they are? You get to make that up. Are they at a fair, like at the Kern County Fair? Are they at a circus? I know some of you wanted to write about the family dinner. So if you're writing about the family dinner, we'll talk about that in a second. Just hang on for a second. But those of you that wanted to write about this one, what do you think? Where are they at here in this picture? Anybody have any ideas? Megan, what do you think?
A fair.
Okay, good. Do you have a name for your characters?
Yeah. Me and my brothers, so Megan, Brandon, my aunt and uncle be Aunt Vanessa and Uncle JR. And are my real aunt
Oh,
and uncle.
oh, that's perfect. Okay. So you can put you and your brother's name and then put fair here for central fact. And then you can talk about your aunt and uncle later as you want to introduce them later. That sounds good. How about you, Christopher? Are you writing about this one? Where are they in your story?
A theme park.
At a theme park. Okay, like maybe Disneyland or Magic Mountain. That's a good one. I didn't think about that one. Um, any other ideas out there? Here they are ordering. It does not tell us which one they picked. So this is where you can decide which one they picked. So they're ordering. Did you see one of them was like mac and cheese on a stick or ice cream on a stick, fried ice cream? So you can decide where they are ordering, and then you can explain what they're ordering. Go through the questions to help you come up with an idea of what's happening in each paragraph. And don't forget, each one of these is a paragraph. So don't get ahead of yourself. Stick to only this picture. Ask these questions, kind of go back and forth over all the questions. Like it looks like there's only the two people there, but maybe they're invisible. Maybe there's a whole crowd of people. Or maybe there's like a flock of birds that come flying in. Who knows, right? Wouldn't that be crazy? Um, and then outside the frame of the picture, maybe there's rides over here. Maybe there's other stuff going on. Okay, go ahead, Julio.
Way in the back, the one that's really small, it looks
Hmm.
like it says either hamburger on a stick or sandwich on a stick.
Oh, either one of those would be crazy, huh?
Yeah, I think it's sandwich.
It's hard to see. I see pizza on a stick. Oh yeah, that one over by the circus tent. Yeah, it is hard to see. Maybe sandwich. I saw your note, Olivia. I think it was you that said that you can't see my screen. Okay. Well, I hope you can tell what I'm looking at with your pages you got out of your binder. Okay, it looks like you're good. Um, so London, I forgot. Which one did you decide to write about?
Family dinner.
The family dinner. Okay, so let's look at this one. Hopefully you wrote your questions here. So what are you thinking is going on in the central fact? What are you going to put here for the central fact of that picture? Like who's in the picture?
Maybe like the aunt and uncles.
Aunt and uncle, and these are their niece and nephew, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're together eating something, and then there's the dog. So you can name everybody, right? What do you think why are they eating together?
Um, maybe because it's one of the niece's birthdays.
One of the niece's birthdays, that's a good one. And you could think of things like how old is she on her birthday? Um, and what are they eating? It could be what you see in the picture, but it could also be what you want to make up. Like if you want them to be eating pizza at a pizza parlor, that's okay too. Or if they're at John's Incredible Pizza or they're at an event place, that's okay too. You can think of that. But what about what happens before? If it's a birthday party, maybe they played games here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they watched a movie or something, or you can think of what they did before they ate. Okay. And then after they ate, this is where they probably did the cake and the presents here. So just to give you an idea of some things to write down for you, um, think about like what happened before dinner and after dinner, and that can help you come up with a plot. And then I know we heard from Christopher. How about Olivia? Do you know what you're gonna put for yours? Wait, you're muted. I forgot, are you doing the one with the dinner or the carnival one or the fair ones? Okay. So unmute Olivia and tell me what you think. Who's in the picture? What are they doing? Why are they eating together?
Um, I'm gonna change it to the grandma and grandpa and their grandchildren.
Okay, grandma and grandpa and grandchildren. I like that.
And it's the grandpa's birthday.
Oh, okay. So what could they do before they ate dinner? Maybe before and after, I guess. You have some choices there. She's thinking. I guess before they could play games, like I was suggesting for London, or maybe they watched a movie. Maybe they went to go play miniature golf and they came back home for dinner or something like that. You can really get creative on that.
They went on a boat ride and then they came
Ooh.
home and then they ate dinner and then they ate cake.
Oh, I like it. That's a good idea. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something really quick before you go. I have an example of this story that not one of my students, but it came with the curriculum just so you can see an example of how the story goes. And I want you to see how they labeled the things from their checklist. Whoops. Hold on, here we go. Hang on. Trying to get this thing pulled up here. So here's somebody's idea. Peter and Hannah's restaurant escapade. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. It's week 12. Here we go. Week 12. One day, a brother and sister walked to the local fair searching for an adventure. The brother's name was Zane, and the sister, who was the oldest, was named Hannah. Since it was their small town, Hannah and Zane could visit the fair by themselves. Their parents had given them both $15, and the kids were hungry. While the siblings casually strolled over to the food area, they pondered what they wanted to munch on. Every food seemed to be deep fried in on or a stick. Wait, every food seemed to be deep fried on or a stick. Hannah noticed one of the stands that had mac and cheese on a stick and wondered how that was possible. Today, Zane wanted to be daring, so he asked his sister if they could go over to the octopus on a stick stand because he wanted to try the octopus. The siblings were enjoying themselves at the fair. So this is a good story. They did actually use a couple banned words by accident. I noticed that. So it's not a perfect paper. And then the other thing they forgot to do was put in the prepositional opener. So remember, when you add a prepositional opener, you're going to use the number two with a bracket around it. And you're going to add that and put that as one of the sentence openers, okay, in your story. I just looked at the time. We're out of time, actually. So have fun with this story, and I'm anxious to hear what you come up with. I do want to hear from London next week. I want London to read your story and Sydney and Megan, because I haven't heard yours yet. So be prepared to share your story next week, okay? All right, you guys, have a good one. I'll see
Bye.
you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.